Evening, it's 5:57 tonight, and this is your closing comment for Wednesday, the 21st, and it was a Fed day, and it was a wild Fed day. This morning, we were up about 150, 160 in the futures at the open, and that is the way that we opened. But it should have been a little bit of a hint when we saw that the 2-year and the 10-year were moving higher this morning. And really, it got pretty ugly um, as far as interest rates go. But stocks marched higher, and as I said, we were up about 275 or so. Um, and that was when Mr. Powell started talking. When he started talking, the market turned decidedly lower, but only by about 200. So up 200 to down 200. But as he started to talk in the press conference, the market took off again. Back to the upside, very strong, up about, I want to say, 200, 220, and that was again a 400-point reversal. And at 3 o'clock, the bottom fell out of it. The Dow turned 800 points lower from high to low and finished down 522 or 1.7%. NASDAQ down 1.8% or 204. S&P down 66, 1.71. The Russell was only down 1.4, and for the first time this week, the transports were not the biggest loser. They were only down 1%, down 128. And the VIX still shows people not being overwhelmingly uncomfortable. It was only up 83 cents today. And that's with a market that was 3-1 down, both NYSE and NASDAQ, as well as volume picking up from yesterday's about 3.9 up to 4.4 billion today over on the NASDAQ. But I really kind of want to take a break here on these stocks. Every sector was down except the very defensive food supply chain, and that was helped by General Mills, which solidly beat on earnings. And also Cal-Maine was another one of those names. I didn't see any news on them, but that stock closed up 4.5% also at almost 61, up $2.65. But I want to get back to the futures, because the futures have really been much more of an honest market, not jerked around in both directions. Yes, of course, when they talked about inflation, gold rallied and silver rallied, but futures have a lot of advantages, and you really need to discuss them with me. I use a trader, Dennis, who is up over 50% for the year to date. And, these are in markets that, as I said, they're much honest. He trades using stops. He has a 30% to the downside cutoff. But, that really hasn't come into play at all, as well as there are tax implications that allow you to really have a huge advantage in trading the futures. So, I can't express this enough. You really need to ask me if you have any interest in trading the futures, as opposed to a market which, is run by algos and headlines. So, get to me either a DM, an email. Most everyone has my number, my phone number, so it's in your best interest to do that. chart on the screen is the dollar, and this has really been the crux of what all the problems are. As you can see, we made a new recovery high today over 111, 111.36. To give you an idea of what that looks like in the grand scheme of things, this is the move. I got tired of doing it, but this is the chart that I continuously showed with this W bottom and the breakout right here. This is a market that went from 95 or 96, 95 actually, broke out, came right back down and tested that breakout, and then moved from 94.60 to today's 111. I know that we're desensitized by a lot of the action in a lot of these markets, but this is a phenomenal move. And it's really something that affects a lot of the markets. In any event, so this is the dollar, and it was up, and because it was up, usually you see a lot of the internationals going down. So oil, which had been as high as 86.67 and closed down $1 at 82.94. I mean, that's a pretty substantial move, and basically on the dollar. Nat gas was up a nickel. Gold, after being up to 1686, $20 higher than it closed today, up almost $5. The silver was really, really acted well. This is one that I've been trading, and in fact, we put on a silver yesterday, AGQ, which is the ETF triple times, 3 times, and it was up to 1977. I think we paid 85. They traded as high today as $1.20. So that's pretty nice. I did not sell them because I think that we're going higher, and a look at this chart will show you the why of it. We came down, we tested that move down, we moved up into resistance, we've consolidated across, and it looks like we're going to work higher. We broke through this downtrend line for the first time in quite a while. We closed back down here, but I think that that had more to do with interest rates. Also, another thing that you should notice is that interest rates have been also really all over the place. I don't know what Dennis's position on interest rates is, but um, my position is very clearly the short end is the end that's going to move. The long end actually was higher today as the short end was lower. I'll give you one quick look, and then I'm going to close for the evening and get to work on your daily note. But here is the 30-year. Closed practically on the high of the day. It was an inside day, so a higher low and a lower high. But let me show you. You see the bent of this chart. It hit the bottom of our channel, and I mentioned that on Sunday night in the letter. I mentioned it on Monday, and I mentioned it yesterday. So we look at that, and then you look at the 2-year, which is a note as opposed to a bond. And this just continues to go lower. I mean, there is no consolidation on this. It's out of its channel to the downside. Had a little bit of a rally afterwards, after the close of the market. But still, this is the end of the curve, excuse me, that the Fed can sort of govern by raising rates because of the short end. But in any event, this is now over 4%. And the spread, the 2 to 10 spread, which I've been including on the Market Lab, has gone from about 20 to about 50 in the last, I don't know, 2 months. That's pretty extreme, also. All right, everyone. I'll be back first thing in the morning. Don't forget about the futures and get to me because I have a lot to say. I'll introduce you to Dennis. There is no fee on his. He works strictly on a percentage of the profits. So he has, your profit motive. And also, tomorrow we have claims. Thursday's claims day. We also have the EIA oil inventory, but that's not until 10:30 in the morning, I think. All right, everyone, have a good evening. Hope you made out okay today.